In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit someone's face. We're going to take away blemishes, we're going to add blemishes, we will fix the color of their teeth and maybe even their skin. Please go to File, Open, and then choose your hairy picture. That sounded weird. Okay, click on the picture of Harry. Okay, so as you can see, Harry has a lot of blemishes on his face. So what we are going to do is we're going to zoom in by hitting Control plus. And I'm going to use my spot healing brush, which is the fourth one from the top on the left side of your tool panel. It looks like a band-aid. I'm going to make sure that my brush is somewhat small. I'm just going to go around and click on all of his blemishes and they will magically disappear. Now, sometimes you have to click and drag just a tad bit to smooth the areas out, but you do not ever want to do a long path because it will start to look smudged and it will not look real. So make sure that when you make strokes that they are short strokes. You can go through and remove his acne. We can also touch up his lips. Make my brush a little bit smaller. He's got some chapped lips. It's like he's bleeding. But now they look fabulous. Okay, well, maybe not fabulous, but better. Okay, so now say that we wanted to add more blemishes to his face. Then what I'm going to use is the clone stamp tool, which is right below the stamp tool or the spot healing brush. So we'll click on this one. Looks like a stamp. Now we need to make our brush big enough to cover the space that we would like to clone. Make sure that you use the bracket keys next to the P. They're to the right of the P, the two keys there. Hold down Alt till it makes a target and click one time. Now I'm going to scoot over here. I'm going to click. Looks like I need to select my image again. So I'm going to hover over this, hold Alt, click one time, and then go down here and duplicate it. I'm also going to do it to these up here because they're a little bit more noticeable. Okay, so that's how we duplicate blemishes. We can also give them a third eye. If I make it big enough to get his eye, I hold Alt, click one time, and then I can go up here and stamp another eyeball on his forehead. Okay, so I've made him look pretty bad, but we're going to make it even worse. Okay, so if you go down from your clone stamp and go over a little bit, I think your default will look like this right here. It'll look like a lollipop. At least that's what I think of. It's called the dodge tool. Hold down on your dodge tool, so it looked like that. Hold down on it and go to the burn tool. It looks like a hand. So we are going to make sure that our brush is somewhat small. It doesn't have to be too small. And up here is something called exposure. So this is just how heavy this tool is going to go on. What the burn tool does is it makes it look really dark, but since my exposure is low, then it's not going to show up very well. So I'm going to click on, actually I can just click in here. I can use my up key on my keyboard, or I can just type in 100 and then click enter. Now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click and drag and I'm going to give him a black eye. Give him a little bruise on his nose. Up here, we're going to make him look like he's got a hole in his head. Okay, so what the burn tool can do is it can make something look darker. It can also make it look bruised or burned, which is why it's called the burn tool. Another thing that it can do is if we turn our exposure down quite a bit, we can actually add a tan to him. So I need to hit enter because this is highlighted blue. I'm going to make my brush bigger, not that big. And if I go over the skin area and I go over it lightly, then it will give him a slight tan. But we don't want it to be too high on exposure because the higher it is, the more he's going to look like he has a really bad spray tan. Okay, so if you're going to give someone a tan, please make sure that your exposure is very low. So I would say definitely below 15%. Okay, so I want you to go over here to the side of your screen, the side of your picture, and I want you to click on the one that's your history tool. It has 3 rectangles on the left and an arrow pointing to the top. Click on that. If it's not there, remember that you can go to Window and click on History. Okay, now I have a whole lot of stuff in my history and I need to get to the very top so that we can clear out all of the horrible things that we've done to his face. I'm going to click this and drag it down. I'm going to use this to go up. Now, if I wanted to, I could click on the words and I could go up to a certain step. Okay, but I want to go up to the original picture, so I'm going to click on the original picture and it goes back to normal. Okay, we're going to touch up his teeth a little bit. So you know how to remove his blemishes. Now what we're going to do is hold down on the burn tool and click on the dodge tool. Now, same thing with exposure. So the dodge tool does the opposite of burn. It makes things much lighter. So when you do someone's teeth, you want this exposure to be kind of low because if it's not low, then it will look very fake. So I'd keep it pretty low and then click and drag over their teeth and it looks much better. Another thing that you can do is go over red spots on skin and you can take that redness out. We can also use it under the eye to get rid of dark circles. Now you don't want to do too much, otherwise you're going to look like you have the flu. Okay. And then one more bad thing that we can do is we can get that stamp tool again. And remember that you have to make your cursor kind of small or at least about the size of your object. I'm going to hit Alt, click one time, and then I'm just going to connect his eyebrow. I'm just clicking. I'm going to reselect this over here by holding Alt and then connecting that right there. So now Harry is living up to his name. And that is how you edit someone's face.